What's up, guys? Keyshawn Ochier here, back at you with another OT Universe What If. Now, this is going to be part 2 of What If Toga and Deku was together. 18 plus, of course, because this will contain blood, gores, sex, and, other guts, and you could say possibly nudity, depends on how this goes, and other crazy shit. So, if you is a Christian and you go to a Christian church and you never listen to any, most disgusting foul things in your life, and you're not weird and crazy like me and my other subscribers, please get the fuck out the kitchen because shit's about to get spicy. Other than that, since you got the warning, let's get started. Now we're gonna do a quick recap and then we're gonna get to the new parts. Where last pretty much left off, Deku pretty much, you could say, murdered the whole orphanage because they killed his favorite dog. You could say his only friend in the world. And he killed the orphanage and pretty much ran away. After running away and hiding in the alleyway, pretty much don't know what to do with his life, Toga pretty much came in and, offered him ice cream and told her name, and Deku told her name, and they pretty much made a somewhat bond with each other. After Deku hanging out the alleyway, he pretty much got captured by the organization and pretty much was tested on and stuff, and you could say given drugs and stuff. As he was there, he pretty much was growing older, up to 14 or 15 years old. 15 years old, you could say. And pretty much broke out the facility and begins to wreak havoc in the facility and let other gifted ones like him go. Now, as he, wreaked havoc at the facility, he pretty much, let the other ones escape while he got shot in the arm and head and fell in the water while the dog followed him. After being freed and, looking around, he met Toga again, pretty much, you could say, creating a somewhat relationship they missed out on, and pretty much you could say did the D. They had sex, okay? I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. But pretty much, yeah. And after Toga going to her job, pretty much trying to get the money, she pretty much was caught up by the loan shark, which the loan shark was, about to do some things to make her pay back the money until Deku came in and murdered both of them, and they pretty much walked on after that. Now, since that's over, let's get to the new parts. Now, Deku was pretty much in the, you could say, at the broken down house they're pretty much at, or a broken down uh, apartment, you could say, which Alicia and Tom is looking at Deku and asking what they're gonna do, which Deku sees Toga sleeping, pretty much, you know, sleeping, and Deku looks and says, "We're gonna do it. We're gonna try to rob this bank to get money, so we don't have to live here, and also maybe we can get a little bit more money to help out other people." I always wanted to be, kind of some type of a hero like Robin Hood, kind of like Robin Hood, which at least he doesn't know what he's talking about, which Deku explains like Robin Hood is like a hero who, steal from the rich and give to the poor kind of way. Which uh you could say Tom is pretty much saying, but ain't the bank is like for everybody, which Deku says, not when I saw. Now they all agree upon and they start heading to the bank. Now they wear, you could say, some outfits and wear a mask, and they begin to go there. Now they're destroying cameras and stuff. They're pretty much destroying cameras and stuff and all that. And they begin to, you could say, have bags. Now they're pretty much, going to the bank, grabbing money and stuff, and all that. And of course, say no guards was there because they treat their bank with the top facility, so they just start ripping the safe open, and they begin to take all the money they can. Now, as they're taking all the money they can, this is where they begins to start head going. Now, next morning, She begins to wake up. She begins to wake up and look, and Deku is pretty much cooking some breakfast for her and saying good morning. But she says good morning, and she says, "I didn't know you knew how to cook," which Deku says, "I don't know how to cook." I'm just learning. Which she looks, and the eggs is looking good, the bacon's looking good, but those pancakes though looking garbage. It looks like imagine a pancake that someone cooked the first time, but it's like kind of looking weird. Yeah, it's like that kind of pancake. But other than that, it tastes good. But as they're all sitting down and eating breakfast, they get a on the TV turns on, and on the news it's pretty much saying that someone went into the bank and robbed, which they don't know who because all the cameras was destroyed and broken. Which is where Toga looks in. She sees that there's like 3 bags of a lot of money, and she's saying, "Did y'all rob the bank?" Which Deku says, "Yeah, I robbed the bank so we don't have to stay here. We can be at a better place." Which Toga says, you didn't have to do that." Which Deku says, "Well, I had to. And second of all, I don't want that loan shark constantly coming at you and thinking that you murdered him." Which Deku asks, "How much do you own that loan shark?" When she says, "About $5,000. $5,000, huh?" Now, this is where Deku, pretty much have enough money because, like I said, he robbed the bank and they got like 3 bags of them, probably actually four. So they're pretty much filthy rich right now. Now, this is where Deku gets $500 and pretty much says, "All right, let's go to the loan shark so we can give him this $5,000, so he doesn't have to keep messing with you." Which Toga says, "Okay." Now we're gonna switch to Inko point of view, okay? Because this is gonna be something spicy. Now Inko is pretty much, washing her dishes, and she's pretty much crying because she realized the mistake she did. She gave her son up, her son Deku, and as she's shaking her hand, is crying. This is where her daughter comes down in, and her daughter's name is Zuko because we're gonna say Deku names Deku, and this girl name is going to name Zuko Midoriya. Now, as she's going down, this is where, she says, "Morning, Mom," which Inko looks up and she begins to say, "Oh, morning, daughter." Now, this is where they begin to eat with each other and stuff, and Inko begins to like sit down and talk to her daughter and stuff, and her daughter is kind of would have green hair, green eyes and stuff, kind of like that hairstyle like Bazooka have, but like much longer you could say. And she's pretty much eating her breakfast and stuff, and talk to her mom. Now Inko is pretty much constantly like tired and sad and stuff, which her daughter doesn't know what's going on. Which this is where her daughter gets up and says she's gonna go eat some. She's gonna go to school, which Inko says, "Okay, have a good day, sweetheart." And Mizuku begins. Now, as she's going, this is where she begins to walk with Bakugo, and we're gonna say they're best friends, childhood friends, you could say, instead of Deku, and they have a somewhat bond together, and they're talking to each other. Now, as they're talking, Bakugo, Mizuku, she begins to say, why is she, I don't know why she's crying all the time and upset, which this is where, hold on. Alright, I'm back. Sorry that you had to hear that goddamn noise of a goddamn baby. Like, no one doesn't want to hear that. I'm so sorry about that, guys. But let's continue the video. This time, no loud noises. Now, this is where, of course, Bakugo laughs and says, "Oh yeah, maybe you have a secret brother that your mom is trying to eager to tell you about, that she made a mistake and left him at the orphanage." Which is where Mizuku, she begins to say, "Don't joke around like that." But this is where she begins to think and says, maybe it is true because I did see a picture of a child and it didn't look like me. And she cries about it every time I see her hold it, and even when I was a kid. Now, this is where they're heading into the school. And you could say, not the school, but the UA High. They're pretty much going to the UA High. school because she's in class 1A with Baku, and she's pretty much sitting with like and them and talking and all this stuff. And they're hearing on the news that someone pretty much robbed the bank and stuff, and they're trying to figure out who did it and stuff, and they're having all their time and stuff. They're doing that, and they're doing all their conversation now. Now they're pretty much doing the test, the hero versus villain arc, and they're pretty much about to do all the teams and stuff. So all the teams are the same. So Uraraka and Mizuku Midori, she's gonna be with that team now. As they're going, this is where she pretty much is informing Uraraka to head up there. Use her gravity to lift herself up there while she goes to the building and fight Bakugo. Which Uraraka says okay. As she's going in the building, this is where Bakugo does a big explosion, which was where Mizuku, she used her one for all quirk and begins to dodge the explosion. Now she runs in and kicks Bakugo right in the face, sends him flying out the building and pretty much hit the ground. Which Bakugo is trying to get up and says, "Oh, that kick hurts." Now this is where Uraraka touches the bomb and Hero wins. Now we're gonna switch back to Deku and Toga. Now, actually no, we're gonna switch back to Mizuku. Now she's pretty much done with the test and they all do the thing. As she's heading back home, this is where she begins to walk to her mom and ask her mom, who is this kid and why do you keep crying for him? And say, your little Deku, which she begins to spill out the beans and say that she has an older brother, and that older brother is him, Deku. He looked at, so I had fear. I had fear, and I was afraid of him, and I just gave him up because he looked at different, and I realized that's my mistake. And this is where, because she's mad, but she realized that she has a brother, and she says, and she gets up and she says, I'm gonna go find him, no matter the cost. And she begins to head out. Now we switch to Toga and Deku point of view. Now this is where Deku is walking with Toga to the loan shark, and the loan shark is pretty much saying, "Oh, so you come here, so we don't have to keep chasing after you." Which is where Deku gives $10,000, and he says, "This is her paying off her debt, and this is her leaving. This is you leaving her alone." And this is him saying, "Who the hell are you, kid?" In which Deku says, "My name is Deku. Is that a problem?" Which Loan Shark looks and he smiles and says, "No, that's not a problem. I take it. I take all the $10,000 she owed, and a little extra." Now this is where before Deku and Toga can go. This is where the Loan Shark says, "One more thing. Did you kill my guys?" Which Deku turns around and looks and he says, "No, I killed them because they was hurting her, and he was about to do worse, so I killed them in self-defense." Which Long Shark looks and he says, "Huh, okay, you can go now." Now, as Deku and Toga going, Toga is pretty much looking down and and Deku asks if she's alright, which she looks up and says, "Yeah." She's just really happy that she doesn't have to deal with this again. Now, this is where Deku and Toga is heading back, and they pretty much is grabbing all the money and stuff, and Deku is saying, "So, what place should we go first? We have the money we need." Which Toga says, "Let's go to that fancy hotel. We have enough money." Which Deku says, "Yeah, of course." And they begin to get going. Now, as they're holding, you could say, the bag of money and stuff, this is where they bump into a person. And we're going to say this is a rich blind girl. And she says, "Oh, sorry. Um, I'm terribly sorry. I can't. I didn't mean to bump into you guys. Which Deku says it's okay, and it begins to. Now this is where a guy, you could say, a guy pretty much trying to abduct her, and she's screaming for help. Which Deku sees them running into the alleyway, and he, you could say, used his hands to grab the guys and pretty much slam them both in the wall, and pretty much crushing both of their skulls and leaving them down. Now this is where Deku walks up to her and asks if she's alright. She pretty much, touched Deku's face and saying, "Yeah, I'm alright. What is your name?" Which Deku says, "My name is Deku," and she knows there's other people around. She says, "Hey, y'all names too?" Lisa, Tom. They say their names in toga. Now, this is where the lieutenant, or you could say the bodyguards, comes in and say, "Miss, you should know not to be by yourself," which is where she says she's alright. They saved me, which Deku says it was nothing. We gotta go to this hotel, which she says you have nowhere to stay, which Deku says, yeah, we don't have nowhere to stay, but she says, well, y'all can stay at my house. Think of it as a thank you gift, which Deku says thank you. Now they're going to the house and stuff until they see this mansion. Now, as they're seeing the mansion, they pretty much see it and they say, wow, this place is big. But she says, yeah, I live here. Now, as they're walking and stuff, this is where, Toga's looking and saying, this place is quite big. Which Deku says, yeah. Which Tom and Lisa, they're excited because they like this place and this place looks quite beautiful. Now, as they're looking around and stuff, this is where Deku says, we make sure to pay you back for this, which she says, oh no, y'all don't have to pay me back. Y'all did enough for saving my life. Now, as they're looking around and stuff, the maids are showing them their rooms and stuff. And this is where we're going to say one of the butlers, the higher up butlers who, watch over all the maids and butlers and stuff, pretty much says, so they're going to be staying with us, and, well, before they can stay with us, they must take a shower, all of them, which, we're going to say they had a broken shower, so they didn't get the shower like that. So this is where the butlers and maids begins to take all of them and take them to the, the secret bath, and it's kind of like a hot spring bath, so you can wash there and stuff. And they're pretty much getting washed, and stuff. Like the maids are washing, like Toga and them, and Deku's getting washed by like the females and stuff. But he's like rushing, saying, "I can do it myself," and they're saying, "Oh, certainly not." And they're pretty much washing him and stuff. And he's pretty much brushing it and all of them. Now, as they're getting clean, they pretty much get dressed up in some better clothes and stuff. Like better clothes and all that stuff. And the girl, she's pretty much, saying, that's nice. Like, so, are y'all freshen up? Which Deku says, yeah, thank you for your kindness. And she says, oh, it's nothing. Now, this is where Deku begins to put the bag of money and stuff, like, in his room. And all that stuff, put the bags in his room and stuff. And begins to put it under his bed. Put it in the closet, I say. Now, this is where they're all eating together. And the blind girls. And Deku's pretty much saying, so, do you have a father or anything? And she says, oh no, my father, he passed away and stuff. I just live here by myself. And all that. I'm the head of the company of technology Stark. Well, tech. Well, we're just gonna call it tech. Technology, you could say. Now, she's pretty much saying she's the head of the technology, and she's making ideas and stuff, and all this stuff happen. Now, this is where Deku says, oh, I see. So those guys who was trying to duck you, they was trying to put you up for ransom money, if I'm correct, right? Which the bodyguard says, hey. Which she says, no, I'm thinking, you're right. I am worth a lot of money if I get captured or get abducted. Deku says, I see. Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm back. But yeah, she's pretty much saying that, yeah, she gets abducted she'll be worth a lot of money. Now, as Deku's thinking about that, he's pretty much saying, huh, okay. And she pretty much is talking, is saying that she's making technology better so she can, probably get her sight back and help those who can't walk and stuff anymore. Which Deck is saying that's great. But she says, but this is where she's saying she needs a lot more money to get for the research done. This is where Deku says, huh. Now, as they're pretty much talking to her and stuff, uh, this is where Deku says, I haven't asked your name. I'm sorry, what is your name? Which, this is where she this is where she names herself, Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth. Uh, this is where Deku says, kind of like the Queen Elizabeth, but she says, yeah, kind of like her. Which Deku says, huh, crazy name, I like it. But she smiles and says, thank you. Now, as they're all heading to bed and stuff, this is where Deku grabs the bag of money. He knocks on her. Well, he gets to go to Queen Elizabeth. And he asks if she's awake, which she pretty much smiles and says, no, I'm asleep. Now, this is where Deku opens up the bag of money and, well, the one bag of a lot of money, and he puts her hand on the money, saying, is this enough you need? Which she's saying, this is more than enough. How did you get that? Which Deku says, don't worry about it. It's the least I can pay you to help you research, get further off. Which she begins to, cries and says thank you. Now, as the next day comes, Deku begins to get dressed and stuff. And all get dressed and begins to start. We're gonna say Lisa and Tom stays in the house and play some video games and do some kid stuff while Deku begins to go head out. And you could say go possibly look for a job or just do something. Say. And begins to go look. Now, this is where Toga says that there's going to be a meetup where villains is going to meet up. Maybe we can get paid some money there. Because we can't just live off of that money. That money's going to disappear eventually. Which Deku says, yeah. And they go to the villain hideout. The villain place. Now, as they're going, this is where, Toga has pretty much her uniform, you could say, on. And Deku begins to walk in there with, we're going to say, a black jacket. We're going to say he wears, if anyone played Yakuza, he's going to look like Majima, but not with an eye patch. He's going to wear the leather jacket, but not with chains. Actually, he's going to wear a chain, but it's going to have kind of like a dye, like a crystal. And actually, yeah. No, he's going to have two chains, but they're going to be silver. They're going to be silver. And he's going to wear a black jacket. He's going to wear kind of like Majima setup, but he wears leather gloves. He's going to wear black leather gloves, and he's going to wear a black jacket. And he's going to wear the pants, and he's going to have the shoes like Majima. But, instead of having the silver at the end, it's going to have gold. Now, this is where Deku is pretty much heading there, walking with Toga. And this is where Shigaraki says, so these are the two people. There you are. And who is this? Which Toga says, he's my boyfriend. Which Deku begins to do a light blush, but he begins to grab her hand and says, yeah, we're together. Now, this is where Shigaraki says, how sweet. But enough with that lovey-dovey. Today we will attack the USJ. Which Deku says, USJ? Which Shigaraki is saying, yes. we're gonna attack them and kill the number one hero, All Might. Which Deku remembers the saying, All Might. And he remembers that All Might comes in and introduces himself. Which Deku says, do you have beef with All Might? Which Shigaraki is pretty much saying, beef with him. He's posing as a false hero, lying, and acting like he's all powerful and mighty. Which Deku is thinking and saying, you probably do have beef with him. Now, this is where they all begins to get prepared to stuff, and Deku, he pretty much looking around and realizing everybody has a mask until Toga got him a mask, and this mask is kind of like a rabbit, mask, and he tells her thank you, but she says I made it for you. Now this is where he puts on the mask and they begin to all head out and stuff, and Deku looks in, all the students are having a fight with the villains and stuff and all that stuff, and Deku begins to stick with Toga and making sure she's all right, and he's taking his time and all that stuff. Now this is where Todoroki begins to use his ice to try to attack Toga until Deku breaks his ice with his visible hands and Todoroki is saying, "What? How did he break my ice?" And Deku pretty much just sends him flying, and not rip him apart, just sends him flying. Pretty much punch him with the invisible hand, just sends him flying. Now, this is where Deku is sticking with Toga, and this is where Shigaraki is holding. We're gonna say Baraka, and she's pretty much screaming and asking for help. Which this is where All Might comes in and says, "I am here." Now, All Might pretty much is fighting with the Nomu and stuff, and Deku is watching him, trying his best to hold off the Nobu. Now, this is where we're gonna say All Might got that extra boost because, well, no, this is where All Might is, fighting off the Nomu and stuff, and this is where we're gonna say Mizuku Midori. She begins to leap at Toga and about to attack her till Deku comes in front of her and looks at her. And this is where she begins to try to throw a kick, which Deku blocks and pretty much lands to the ground. Now we're gonna say the mask pretty much breaks off, but pretty much falls off. And as he's looking at her, this is where she sees the face of Deku, and she realizes this is her brother. But she says, "Brother?" And Deku pretty much says, "Huh?" And this is where he grabs his mask and begins to get going because Shigaraki is saying, "Everybody retreat," because we're going to say Nobu got folded by All Might. And everybody begins to start going. Now, this is where she looks down and says, "That was my brother. Is he a part of the villain? He's a villain? What?" Now, this is where Deku is heading back with Toga, and Shigaraki says, "Everybody did good. Everybody tried their best and did good. It was a fail, but we're gonna get it next time." We're gonna say this Shigaraki is more confident, and not more like this is no fair and doing his childish way. He's more confident in this. Like, he's going to kill All Might. He's going to make sure he's going to do it. Like, yeah, they're going to fail at some plans, but he's going to make sure to clap those cheeks of All Might, you could say. Now, as Deku and Toga is, getting praise and stuff, they begins to all, go in a separate place. And Deku begins to talk to Toga saying, "That girl, she called me brother. Does she know my mom? If so, I gotta find her to talk to her." Which Toga says that might not be a good idea. Which Deku says, "I have to find out and see what the hell am I." Now, this is where Toga and Deku heads back to the mansion, and Queen Elizabeth is saying, "Oh, yeah, guys are back," and Deku looks at her, look at, uh, looks at her, you could say, eyes. Well, looks at her wearing, like, you could say goggles, and Deku says, "What's with the goggles?" Which she says, "Oh, I just got eye surgery," which this is where she's saying thanks to you, Deku, because of the money. Now we have enough to help people and, upgrade our research and stuff, which Deku says, "Oh, no problem." Now, this is where Queen Elizabeth was saying, "Y'all can stay here wherever y'all like. Y'all did enough for me, and plus, I don't want to be here kind of by myself anymore." Which, you know, Deku looks at, Toga and them saying, "Do y'all want to stay?" Which they say, "Yeah." Now they're happy and they're all staying there. They're all, begins about to stay there until, later that night, Deku heads out at night by himself to go find that girl. Now, he's pretty much using his senses to sense the girl. He's trying to sense where she's at. And we're going to say his wolf is with her. And we're going to say he has a piece of her hair. Yeah, grabs a piece of her hair and says, "Go boy, Sith." And he begins to follow his wolf. Now, they find the girl and where she's at, and she's pretty much in the house. This is where Deku's looking outside the window. We're going to say that in the window. She begins to look and see Deku outside. Now, this is where she comes down and says, Are you my sister?" And this is where Mizuku says, "Yeah, you must be my older brother. Are you a villain? Are you with them?" Which Deku says, "No, I was just with my girl. I was just with my girlfriend. And we're just trying to get money to survive. But I don't think we need to do that villain business anymore. I don't think. I don't." And she says, "What are you trying to do? What is your goal?" And Deku says, "I don't know. I don't even know anymore." But this is where she asks, "What happened to you?" And Deku pretty much, looks down and says, and looks up at the star and says, "I don't know. I was in the lab. I was tested on. I killed a lot of people. I did a lot of things. I then you don't know what am I. I don't know who's my mom. But you, well, pretty much so you're calling me brother, so is that really my mom? Or you just was trying to distract me and try to capture me?" Now, this is where Inko wakes up and she's pretty much saying, "Why are you outside, sweetheart?" until she sees Deku. Now, this is where she begins to cry and say, "Son," as she runs to him and pretty much runs in and leans him for a hug and crying that she's so sorry for what she did and for, giving him up for adoption. Now, Deku, he doesn't know how to respond to this. He never been into official love with his family, doesn't know what to do, so he's pretty much, shaking and trying to, understand and cope. Sorry, had to handle the baby situation, and I paused the video like 3 or 4 times. I'm so sorry about that, guys. I know y'all don't like that shit. I don't like that shit. I hate that shit. But let's continue and trying to get this over with. Pretty much, Deku is getting hugged by his mom, and she's so confused. She's so, well, not her, but he's just so confused, and pretty much, he doesn't understand this feeling. He doesn't understand the feeling of, sadness and stuff. So he's like, and he's pretty much, sharing tears and saying, he's trying to get her off and saying, "What are you doing? Why are you hugging me?" And he's crying, which she's pretty much saying, Kushra's saying, and he's saying, what am I feeling?" And she's saying, and this is where his sister's saying, "You're feeling sadness, happiness, and together," which he begins to cry and hug his mom back. Now, this is where Inko asks where he was and stuff, and how's he been doing, which Deku pretty much is telling the truth, saying that he killed killed a lot of kids when because they killed his dog, and then he got captured by this organization and he had to fight his way through that. And Inko is just, looking down and crying, saying, "This is all my fault. I should not have left you," which Deku says it's not her fault. And if she hadn't left him, he probably would have met his, you could say future wife, or you could say his future his girlfriend, you could say, which Inko says, "Oh, so you have a girlfriend?" Which he says, "Yeah, her name is Toga." Now, this is where Inko's looking at saying, "So, what's with you and with the chains?" And what she says, "Oh, I like it. It kind of suits me." And Deku has the abs and stuff, so you could say. Now, this is where he begins to get up and says, "Well, he better head back home," which Inko says he has a house, which Deku begins to smile and says, "Yeah, I live with, I live at a mansion with, uh, with these, kids and also with my girlfriend," which Inko begins to think, "So you already have children?" Which Deku says, "No, they're kind of as, like, brothers and sisters to me." And he begins to head back. Now, as he's heading back, this is where Mizuko, she asks, "So the ears, we have the same ears. Can you tell me? Can you tell me what is our quirk? Because I was born with no quirk, and All Might gave me his quirk, you could say." Which Deku says, "Oh, you mean like this?" And he begins to show one of the hands, which Mizuka can see, and she asks, "What is that thing?" Which Deku says, "You have the same gift like me, because if you don't, you wouldn't see these hands. You couldn't see these hands." And this is where Deku says, I will train you one day of how to use them, but right now, I'm just gonna head home." And he begins to head home. And as he's heading home, he gets in the bed with Toga, and Toga pretty much, uh, you could say, hug him tight and says, "Where did you go? Where did you go?" Which Deku tells him that he had to see his sister and mom, which she says, "You idiot. Shouldn't you know we're your family?" Which Deku says, "Yeah, but I just wanted to get some closure." And you could say they have their night. Now, this is part 2 of What If Deku and Toga was together. If you like, leave a like, comment, share, do all that stuff. But I'm Keisha with you. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.